This is the October Bitcoin pump. Right now we've got Bitcoin at 47,300. It has been as high as about 48,000. And what we can say is goodbye September. Welcome October, welcome Q4, welcome bull run. Today what we're going to look at is we're going to look at what caused this Bitcoin pump and what we can expect for the rest of the year. We're also going to degen into altcoins, and we're going to give away a whole lot of prizes because we've got giveaways for this community. We're going to make this community a whole lot of wife-changing honey babies, a whole lot of wife-changing honeys. It's Friday, it's Banter, it's the big Banter. To all of you guys in the meetups, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get this big show on the road. What do you say? Okay, get out of my stream. It's Friday. It's Friday. Bitcoin is pumping. That's the mood right here in the office. That's the mood. Everyone is in a great mood. I'm sure you guys are all in a good mood because it's October and we have had the pump of all pumps, and it does feel like Plan B's plan. I'm starting to think that Plan B is, when they talk about the whales, I'm starting to think that Plan B is actually the whales. Like I think that he is the whales. How can someone call it so right so many times to within a couple of dollars, like literally within a couple of dollars? I mean, that is his stock to flow model. He says, let's see what he says. He says September closing at 43,834, like clockwork. He's predicted Bitcoin hitting 63,000, which is basically close to the all-time high. Close to the all-time high, and that is going to be in October. That is what he's predicting. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't get to 80,000 before we come back to 63,000. So we're going to be looking at where these prices could go. Also today, we're going to be giving away a shitload of cash because I haven't given away enough cash this week. We only gave away $500,000. We did. We gave away Orion.money to the community. We gave them away to the community at 3 cents. Now trading at $1.08. That in my math calculations, that's about 3 cents to 108. It's about 35x. So 35x. So that's $350,000 we gave the community. And it doesn't end there, because what we're going to do now is we're going to give away Continuum and Crypto Blades. I want to show you something. These IDOs are so big and so powerful that they actually broke the Seedify site. That you see, you can't get onto Seedify because we broke the site. So I'm going to give away 10. Only when we get to 5,000 lakhs. Only when we get to 5,000 lakhs. I'm going to give away 10 IDOs, $100 IDOs to Continuum, 10 $100 IDOs to Crypto Blades. I'm also going to be giving away a whole lot of other money that I've got. So subscribe to this channel if you're new. Just subscribe. I can see when you subscribe, and I can see who's subscribing. It's very easy. I'll show you. We have a dashboard. Let's get some music going here. We have a dashboard. The dashboard tells us who's subscribed and who's not subscribed. We also know who's subscribed to BitBoy's channel. We know who you are. We know who you are. We do know that. We know who if you subscribe to BitBoy's channel, we know about it. We don't give you prizes for that at all. We actually take away points for that. Okay, so we can see which of you are part of the, oh, go away. They want to know that it's me. Anyway, we can see about the 394,000 people Let's quickly log in. Okay, you see, we can see the 394,323, 324, 325, 326, 27 people. Come on, subscribe. FOMO into the subscriptions. Like you would FOMO into a good trade. That's the way I would do it. Be part of the family, the best crypto family out there. I guarantee you'll have the ride of your life here. Also, before we start the show, you do know that we introduced our sponsor, Unstoppable Domains the other day. Remember these guys, Unstoppable Domains? So we got into a little bit of trouble because since I introduced these guys, Unstoppable Domains, now remember what they do. They sell domains as NFTs, and they are all the crypto domains, so like .zilliqa, .crypto, .bitcoin, .blockchain, and they sell them as an NFT. And the difference between buying a domain the old way, where you used to pay every year to renew your domain, and buying an NFT is that once the domain is sold as an NFT, that domain is gone forever. Okay, so it's gone forever. So now the problem is we announced this on the show last time, and everyone went and registered Crypto Man Ran Noina, Sheldon the Sniper, Crypto Banter, and now they're trying to sell them back to us at these huge premiums. So it kind of like backfired on us because what we wanted to do was teach you and make sure that you get all your domains. Instead, you bought all our domains, and then what you decided to do after buying all our domains is to negotiate with us. So we feel like we're negotiating with terrorists. Every day I get a new mail with someone who's got a domain that I actually do want, and I have to negotiate. So what I'm saying to you is, don't buy any Crypto Banter domains, but I suggest that you go now, and there is a referral link below, and you go and buy your domains, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're also going to have to negotiate with terrorists, and we don't want you to negotiate with terrorists. They are terrorists. They mail you in the middle of the night. They say, look, I've got your domain. I will only give you the domain if you give me an IDO allocation. That's what I'm getting. Only if you give me an IDO allocation will I give you your domain back. So don't let that happen to you. You've got to think forward, because this is not like normal domains where you have to pay every year. You buy it once, you get the NFT, and then you own the domain. So for example, if you want to buy lisaedwards.crypto, if you buy Lisa Edwards' domain and then you try and sell it to her, I suggest you buy lisaedwards.crypto and you buy lisaedwards.money and .bitcoin and .blockchain, and then you could then also negotiate with her, right, Lisa? Or have you already bought those domains?
Yeah, that is totally right.
You got to be careful. They're crazy people, this community, crazy. So guys, please, first of all, stop buying our domains. Just stop. Then you got to think 5 steps ahead, because once somebody else gets your domain, that's it. It's history. You ain't getting your domain back unless you feel like negotiating with terrorists in the middle of the night.
I don't feel like at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
What was that for? You're not going to laugh at the end when people actually get the domain. When you're negotiating with terrorists yourself. It's not nice. It's not nice. They want your IDO allocations. That's the only way they'll give you back the domains. So do me a favor, click the link below, go and get your domains, and then that way you own your domains. Think like, do you want to get a domain of your name, of your wife's name, of your cousin's name, of your girlfriend's name, of your mistress's names, of your business name? Just register those domains, because otherwise you're going to be negotiating with terrorists, and you'll never, ever get your money back, your domains back. That I can promise you. Okay, what else? Let's see. There was lots of news. I'm still not sure what was the exact news that took Bitcoin over the edge. Not sure. There was a lot of news. There was the Fed saying they were never going to ban Bitcoin, but I mean, I kind of knew that the Fed was never going to ban Bitcoin. That was pretty obvious. There was Twitter doing an NFT demo, not enough to drive this market up. There was an options closeout, but I mean, again, not enough to drive this. We moved to our new offices. That could have caused the pump. And in fact, I think that was the biggest cause for the pump, I think. But in order to find out what caused the pump, what I need to do is actually bring in people that are cleverer than me, because I don't have the answers. I tweeted, I said, I'm doing a show in an hour. I have no idea why Bitcoin pumped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the smart money, the smart people in the room. So I've got a whole lot of guests for you. I've got Andrew Keys, I've got Bill Barhytd, and I've got Lisa Edwards. And today we are going to banter. Welcome, guys.
Hey there. Thanks for having us.
We got two people this is your first banter, Bill, and Andrew, this is your first like real Friday banter, right?
Yep.
We'll go easy on you guys. Lisa, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
Bill, do you own Bill Barhytd.money, .crypto, .bitcoin, .blockchain? Do you own all of those?
It's funny. I've owned Barhytd.net since my Netscape days. I think I bought it in like '93. But I actually didn't even think of Barhytd.crypto. I'm going to go get it because now I'm sure there's 8,000 other people here that are going to try to get it first.
As you said it, about 50,000 people from the Banter community just went and bought it.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I'm literally negotiating with terrorists. I'm literally negotiating all day with terrorists for websites that I never knew about. Andrew, do you own Dharma Capital .crypto.
So when Ethereum created Ethereum naming services, I had some smart Ivy League computer science interns that did the exact same thing to me that's happening to you. They bought AndrewKeys.eth and other various aliases and negotiated with me to acquire it. So I feel your pain.
It's a serious thing. It's a very serious thing. I mean, once people have got the NFT of the domain, that's it. They've got it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no legal recourse. There's nothing you can do about it. Yep. And now it's an NFT. Crazy. It's like for life.
Yeah. So somebody else can basically turn my domain name into an NFT, and now Twitter will probably verify it and put a blue check mark on it.
Exactly.
And the whole world will think, that it's my domain.
Exactly.
So where does that leave companies like Godaddy and that sort of thing that are selling like normal domains?
It leaves them, I'll tell you where it leaves them. It leaves them in the same place as JP Morgan and Citibank and Chase, and it leaves them about the same. There's a new world out there. This is Web3. In Web3, there's new rules. GoDaddy is possibly the worst company in the world. Possibly.
It's definitely the worst company in the world.
Yeah, once they actually gave away our domain, and I had to then pay again to get my domain that I paid for before. And again, I was negotiating with terrorists. Anyway, let's talk crypto, because I think that's what we came here to do. I was just wondering, anyone have any idea what caused that?
Quarterly futures.
What were the numbers?
So I would say that there were a few concurrent tailwinds. You had the first of the month, first of the quarter today, quarterly futures expiration, as well as some positive remarks out of Jerome Powell. I think there's going to be a regulatory compliance hangover over the next 6 to 12 months as the U.S. at least starts stating their thesis of regulatory compliance around crypto. And I think that's going to be a difficult and arduous time. But at least with Powell's testimony yesterday, there were neutral to positive remarks.
So can you go back to the chart and go to the weekly chart and zoom out for a second? I'll put it in really simple. Go to weekly. It's really simple terms, right? So we're actually in a let's call it collapsing wedge, right? And you can see it collapsing in on itself. We have not broken out. We in order to basically break out of this kind of collapsing wedge, we would need a higher high, which we don't have yet, right? So we would need, right, there's the uptrend, and then you have the downtrend, and you've got basically a collapsing wedge. And you've got kind of three things happening at the same time, right? You've got the on-chain fundamentals telling us we're in a massive supply shock, right? I mean, crypto is moving off of exchanges into long-term hodler hands. At the same time, we've got the degenerates looking at this and basically shorting us at the top of the wedge, right? And so we saw tens of millions in liquidations triggered overnight, which is what's got us basically back up to the wedge. But we have this fight now going on between the two. That's all it is. It's just a fight between the two, between basically the supply shock that's going on and the degenerates that are still shorting with 2-3x leverage who are getting wiped out when we get to the bottom of this channel. The question is, which one is going to win? Now, it's pretty clear to me, at least, that eventually those shorts are going to lose. And when they'll capitulate, in my opinion, is when we get to that higher high on the next go around. And that's why I think Plan B is right, that we're going to go see, 68 to 70K, probably higher than that with a pullback. I mean,
if you look at the liquidation data, 60,000 traders were liquidated on about $500 million in the last 24 hours. But what you want to be looking at is you want to be looking at the last 4 hours. So it actually happened 4 hours ago, where 346 million was liquidated. It's not a big number. I'm talking about.
But the volume has come down in general. So relative to where the markets were, it's big enough to get us back up to the top of that wedge.
Okay. So you're seeing an all-time high this month in October?
I think there's a really good chance we see an all-time high in October, but still end the month in the low 60s. Yeah.
Okay. It looked like it was a Bitcoin run more than it was an altcoin run. I want to just get the chart of the Bitcoin dominance up, because I think the Bitcoin dominance up kind of shot. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so you see the Bitcoin dominance. If you look at, let's just get a 1 hour or 4 hour view of that. That's what happened to the Bitcoin dominance. And you can see that Bitcoin dominance is back up at like 43. So this is a Bitcoin thing. It hasn't filtered
100%.
into alts yet. Do you think that it's alts next? Do you think it's alts next?
I don't think Bitcoin...
Next is relative. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think Bitcoin's finished yet. So, and, before alts, I think we'll see Ethereum have another run as well. So, we've got that. We had a massive amount of quarterly futures release just, over the last 4 hours. And it's, every quarter we see more and more expiring. And, if you go back to that previous quarter, there were so many shorts that were purchased in that previous quarter. And again, you would see, coming to the end of December, we're going to see a very similar thing, because this was a very bearish region. So the quarterlies will be again at the end of December, where we'll be going out long. So, and having that last spurt. And so I do think we're going to see Plan B's, 60, but I think we're going beyond that. I think we're going to 88 for October, and then coming back down.
You think coming back down to 63, 64. So you think that Plan B, who's been right for 2 months in a row, is going to come back and get it right for the third time?
Yeah. But I think we're going beyond that first. I think we're going to 88 first.
That means that it's going to be an insane October. Andrew, what do you think?
I think all of that's fair. I'm just cautiously optimistic that regulatory oversight in the United States is going to get particularly thorny, and that fundamental news is a hangover of the entire market that I'm concerned on.
How much more thorny can it get? I mean,
a lot more thorny. Frankly put, today yesterday we had the Office of the Controller was basically a Lenin socialism, anti-banking, anti-crypto nominee that was just created. You have someone who's vehemently opposed DeFi, just added to the SEC as general counsel. If you read these tea leaves, this is going to be a very thorny 6 to 12 months. And frankly, I'm all for regulatory clarity, regulatory oversight, regulatory compliance. But my fear is that, frankly, the powers that be don't understand the technology, don't understand the implications, don't understand what the potential is, and we are rushing legislation.
The worst case scenario, though, is that the SEC starts suing crypto exchanges, claiming that all of these altcoins that we thought all along were not securities are securities. Now, I would bet against that happening, but that is definitely the worst case scenario. And if that happened in Q4, it would be an 80% black swan event, in my opinion. But I realistically have to point to what the risks are, and that's the big risk to me. but I would bet against that happening.
I must say, I haven't seen legislation actually move this market. When we had the talk of legislation, the market kind of brushed it off. The market just said, okay, well, great. Well,
But is it like continuing to be like, China FUD? We get legislation FUD. We get the same sort of stuff just recycled, and the market's now immune to that.
Oh, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Yeah. I think this is a very different legislative tone, and I really don't think they've begun yet. I think that
Andrew, what's the end game of legislation? I mean, I'd imagine that one of the end games of legislation is taxes. So they want more taxes.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. And imagine another part of it. And if they do want taxes, then what they'd want is to legislate in such a way that the industry flourishes as much as possible, but that there is a lot of clarity as to where the money flow is in the form of very strict KYCs, because that's how they can maximize the tax. The other thing that probably want is they would want for the ability to money launder to be quite low. And that's, they were talking about in the US specifically, any crypto transaction above $600 to be KYC'd, so to speak.
Yeah. So, and another one I'll just add quickly is dollar hegemony. So basically making sure the dollar remains in a hegemonic position as we see, the ongoing printing of dollars like they are literally toilet paper in the United States. 40% of all U.S. dollars were created in the last 18 months in the history of the United States. So I think that you're right. So money transmission laws are going to be another one. So I agree with Bill on the SEC aspect, but I think there's a ton of FinCEN considerations as well, where we have all wallets potentially needing to be KYC'd, all transactions over $600, $10,000. You name your target number, but having some type of regulatory compliance as well, like if it was going through Western Union, and just basically making this much more arduous for all users.
I think we have that already. I think the only way it could get worse is if we had it for hardware wallets, which is not tenable. I mean, the Supreme Court has basically come down on this as free speech. So,
Bill, right now, anybody can go on to Uniswap and trade $50 million.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. They're running the web interface is an illegal money transmitter. I get that. The protocol is not. So eventually, the web interface will either capitulate and disappear and leave the protocol to other people, or they'll start KYCing people or blocking Americans or both. It's that simple.
And I think that'll have a dampening effect on the markets. And I
maybe look at BitMex. BitMex basically turned around $1 trillion business and started KYCing everyone within 90 days.
Yeah.
And no one uses BitMex anymore.
No, that's not true.
Well, no, they don't. But America's not the biggest market in crypto anymore either. It's not.
That's fair, but I mean, they trade notes with the FCA, and they trade notes with Europe. I think there's a coordinated G7 effort on this, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just saying that there is rubber meeting the road right now, and I feel like legislation is being rushed. And I feel like it's uninformed, and I hope that
well, that's true for sure.
We can educate the legislative powers that be, so we make good, informed decisions that we don't have to spend years of time and hundreds of millions of dollars in lobbying of the swamps of politics, which is another disgusting conversation. Yeah. But undoing. And frankly, stifling the evolution of the internet.
Yeah. So we've seen the regulatory actions before, though, right? I mean, FTX is going to get hit eventually. BYBIT is going to get hit eventually. Uniswap and SushiSwap are going to get hit eventually. It's coming, but we've seen this before. It's a blip, and then we move on. The bigger issue is what I think you said around, do the Congress people that are actually writing rules to potentially hand off to this SEC and CFTC actually understand what the hell they're writing. And Ted Cruz basically it's my most retweeted video after 10 years was Ted Cruz basically saying, is there 5 people in the Senate that actually know what the hell this is? And he, for the first time, I agree with Ted Cruz.
I agreed with him.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Guys, crypto is bigger than the USA. It
100%.
seriously
But
is.
Lisa, I know you say that, but
Yeah.
crypto is not bigger than the USA and China. And the problem is that China has taken the extreme approach where they've said, okay, no more crypto whatsoever. And if the USA start to tighten, then we've taken 2 of the biggest superpowers in the world and we've basically eliminated them from crypto. Now, you can spin it as much as you want that the USA doesn't matter. But in this case, China's fallen. And I know it hasn't fallen completely. And I know we're still going to get some kind of crypto accumulation from China. But China's out of the race. If the US leaves the race, that leaves a very small market. I mean, it may leave
that sets a precedent. And it sets a precedent.
China's out of the race, and Bitcoin has only gone down 25%. So it's bouncing back. That's the thing. It's like it's not a huge like black swan event. It's a minor little blip in the market, and then it bounces back. So, you have to remember there's a limited amount of Bitcoin. There's only 21 million. It's like, and once that's all gone, it's gone.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the opposite is going to happen. I think the US is ultimately going to lead the race on crypto for the whales. And you're going to see a few billion smaller users come in the next 5 years in Africa and other parts of Asia and South America that are going to dwarf the US in terms of the number of users and maybe not in dollar terms. And that's going to be awesome. That's going to drive the whole market higher with different tokens being used for money transfer, different tokens being used for on-chain smart contracts, Bitcoin being used as store of value, the whole crypto banking ecosystem coming around it. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, I mean, so I guess we spoke about DeFi. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet, but there was an incorrect payment made by Compound.
Yeah.
And I mean, I looked at this tweet and I thought, what the hell is actually going on? And that's from Robert Leshner, who's the founder of Compound. He says, if you received a large incorrect amount of Compound from the Compound protocol error, please return it to Compound Timelock. Keep 10% as a white hat. Otherwise, it's being reported as income to the IRS. Now, I mean, I don't know how else to ask this, but what the actual fuck?
Right. Did you ever see?
So the last part's a joke, and he actually apologizes further down.
I don't think it's a joke.
I don't think if you go down in the tweet thread, he said, if you go down in the tweet thread, he actually apologizes and says, "I was doing whatever I could to get this money back."
Well, that doesn't make it a joke. It just means he was saying whatever he had to say.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Jumpin' Jack Flash when Whoopi Goldberg, when she's in the phone booth and the operator asks her for a quarter and she says, "Come find me in New York for this quarter." I mean, it's ridiculous. So,
yeah. And, obviously there was a big sell-off on comp today and it went down because everyone's like this, they've got their early Christmas present and they've gone shopping. Maybe they all bought Bitcoin.
I must say, I woke up this morning. It was the first tweet that I saw. I thought to myself, look, listen, you must be absolutely insane in a decentralized world.
Well, it does raise the point of kind of autonomous smart contracts and payment flows that are immutable and irreversible, and those issues that we have with what we've got here. I do think that this type of error is going to prompt kind of figuring out ways to create smart contracts that have the ability to reverse a transaction potentially.
There's already that. There's companies like Kirobo, which you can do that. So they're already in development with smart contracts. So with Kirobo, you can send Ethereum or a token, and then if it's not claimed, you can claim it back. If it goes to the wrong wallet, it has both people have to sign for it. So, it's a more secure way of doing that. And that's being developed on the Ethereum network at the moment. So there are, developments like that happening so that, this comp thing doesn't happen again.
Yeah. The bottom line is there's no such thing as a bug in a smart contract. Once it's out there, it's a feature. And so the idea of asking for money back is ridiculous, right? If you want to build a decentralized system, assume that whatever you put out there is the feature of the system. And that's it. And if you don't know if your system is going to work or not, test the fucking system. And that's the problem with these smart contracts is people don't know how to spell testnet. I mean, because everybody's in such a hurry to make money at everybody else's expense. It's ridiculous.
Everybody's in a hurry to launch. And the other problem is that the companies that typically test the smart contracts, there are not enough of them. And so people who do want smart contract audits today can't get smart contract audits. If you want to launch a project now on Cardano, you have a 3-month waiting list to get someone who can audit your smart contracts.
That's right. That's right.
And you ain't going to miss the 3 months because the narrative is that in 3 months, it's going to be the end of the bull market. So you're not going to, I mean, that's the narrative out there. The narrative is we're going to get an explosive October, November, December, and then it's going to be bear market for 5 years. No, it's not going to be bear market for 5 years, but you know what I'm saying. So the problem is that people are going to market too quickly. And as a result, we're seeing a few, and I don't know if this was the case exactly with Compound. In fact, I doubt that Compound rushed too much, but you know that's exactly what I was saying. Let's talk about things that could actually pump the market. So we've said what could put a dampener on the market, and I think we all agree that legislation is possibly the first one. In fact, before we get there, world stock markets. Evergrande shook us a little bit, fired a warning shot. Warning shots fired. Pew. Okay, this economy might actually collapse. China is actually not in great shape, not at all in great shape. This money printing has actually caused a lot of people to over leverage because it's money printing, but it's not only money printing. It's also a combination of allowing people to take more debt so that we can get more spending so that economies can grow quicker. And it feels like there are some cracks showing because of this money printing. We're also seeing the US stock markets. They've taken a breather. I mean, I can't say that they've come down enough, but they have taken a breather. And at the same time, you saw Bitcoin going up, which was for me very, very encouraging. I looked at Bitcoin going up this morning, and I looked at the stock markets down yesterday, up the day before, down the day before that, a little bit down today. I kind of thought to myself, hold on, is this like a decoupling of sort? And then I read an article by Bloomberg, and they said the same thing. And it said, we could be seeing the beginning of some kind of decorrelation with traditional markets here. Is this hopium, or is this possibly a reality that people are saying, look, we'll actually start moving into Bitcoin like we used to do with gold in the stock markets in the early days?
Well, gold is pulling back at the moment, so that's going down. Stock market's going down. So yeah.
Chamath said it perfectly. Gold has already disrupted Bitcoin. Chamath said it. He said the narrative. I had a show yesterday where I spoke about it, and I said that the narrative is the reality, and the smart money usually starts the narrative. And when Chamath gets up and says,
"You thought Bitcoin was going to go to 200,000, maybe you said even higher than that." Do you still think that, or have you tempered your own expectations as a result of where the landscape currently sits?
It's very hard for me sitting here to give you a price prediction, but I can pretty confidently say that Bitcoin, I think, has effectively replaced gold.
Bitcoin has already, and that's the new narrative now, which I think is very, very, very encouraging.
Yep, totally agree.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Yeah.
So do you think that we could get a slight decoupling from the stock markets, or do you think that if the stock markets take a smack, then it's risk off everything?
I mean, they're decoupled for the most part now. I mean, I have a slide for my own internal use where we basically show the correlation between equities, real estate, gold, and it's more or less decoupled now. But the black swans, it tends to be a little bit more coupled, meaning, there'll be initial shock like March 12th last year. But by and large, they're decoupled. I think the bigger issue right now is, China, what's really happening is that there's this huge fear, right, around resource constraints happening in the country. And I think that's a part of why this new regime is pulling back from what's perceived to be an anti-capitalist perspective. Right now, they're out talking about, save the oil, make sure that, every resource we have is guarded. And this has come out of nowhere. And so I think we're actually headed towards this period of stagflation where certain types of resources are actually going to be driving prices higher. And and at the same time, we're going to see a slowdown in the economy, and it's going to be reminiscent of the Carter administration. And people are just going to basically blame Biden, which is the easy thing to do. It wouldn't really matter who's in the White House, by the way. And that's what's going to happen. And I think it's going to lead to even more money printing, which is the most important part of the narrative here. Okay. And so all this talk about interest rates and whatnot, it's not going to matter, because ultimately the money machine is just going to go into overdrive again when the stagflation hits, and it's going to be, Bitcoin to 400,000 or 500,000 at that point.
Whoa, bullish. Andrew, what do you think?
So I agree almost wholeheartedly. In extreme volatility, the dollar will be strong, very similar to last year, and we will see a sell-off in crypto. But over the longer term, the printing will be fuel to this ecosystem, and this is absolutely a non-correlated hedge in that regard. So in terms of catalysts, other catalysts, fundamentally, could be things like, what Merck came out with today, where there's a drug that's going to thwart death of COVID, and obviously improving that situation will be a huge catalyst. If we go into specific cryptos, I think that Ethereum will continue to have extreme tailwinds as the layer 2 ecosystems continue to evolve on top of it, relieving gas fees, combined with EIP 1559 that's now burnt over $1.3 billion worth of ether. So simply put, there's continued demand, but supply reduces, will increase price, and trending towards the merge, where the Ethereum community essentially shuts off proof of work and evolves fully towards proof of stake, making Ether a more active asset where stakers are going to earn yield, 5-7% denominated in Ether, with the ability to have kind of a private equity like 10x possibility from here.
Okay, so let's talk about specific cryptos. I must say I'm an Ether bull, but I think that right now, if I had $10,000 and it was the only $10,000 that I had, and you told me to invest it into a smart contract platform, I don't think that I'd put it into Ether, to be honest. No. I think at best I would put it into an Ether layer 2. And to be honest, I think if I were to put it into an Ether layer 2 now, then I would probably go with Nahmii. And I think we spoke about it earlier this week, but if it wasn't that, I'd probably go into something like Matic. Or, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this article, I called it up a second ago, but TikTok launching NFTs. I mean, that could be a massive, massive, massive catalyst. And I think they're doing this on Immutable X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think
go ahead, Bill.
I think three things are going to happen, Ron, and I think the NFT is the last step, because basically what happens with the NFTs is just like the ICOs. It's a result of excess liquidity in altcoins that finds their way into Ethereum run-ups find their way into NFTs. That's what happened in May and June, and that's going to happen again. I think Bitcoin's going to run up. I think Ethereum's going to run up even higher. I think we could see 3x Bitcoin by first week of January. So 100, market top at 120. 140. But I think maybe okay, but I think Ethereum could easily be 15,000, and I think the layer 2s, relatively speaking, even higher, and Solana, Cardano, and the other layer 1s even higher than that. And so that's the progression that I see in that order, right? And then as that's happening, you'll see excess liquidity moving into new types of phenomenon like the NFTs and other places that allow you to store that value and potentially take advantage and hide money or whatever it is that the degenerates are doing. But that's the order of movement that I would foresee happening over the next 4 months.
Okay, so if you had $10,000 right now and you had to put it into a smart contract blockchain or a layer 2, where do you put your money?
If it was let it ride money, probably Solana.
Okay, fair enough. Lisa?
Yeah.
Lisa,
yeah, either Solana or AVAX.
So
AVAX is a good one. Yeah.
So of those two, I would trend towards AVAX due to the fact that it's EVM compatible, And what I foresee, similar to kind of how search evolved in the early 90s, 85% of search went to Google and 15% was split between Bing and Yahoo and Ask Jeeves and all these other no-name search engines. I similarly put, I'm seeing the majority of the ecosystem, and sure, Solana has done extremely well, but the majority of value is still residing on Ethereum and EVM compatible change.
So I agree with you.
I
agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you, and I think I was around when you were around in the early days of Ethereum, and I think we both saw the magic of Ethereum. And I think there's no doubt that the magic of Ethereum came through the culture and the brain power, right? I think the beauty and the magic of Ethereum was walking into a DevCon. And I remember when I got home from my first DevCon, my wife asked me how was it, and I said to her, I've never seen so many smart people, so much brain power in one place at one time. And that was the output that I had when I went to the first ETH DevCon. But now I'm seeing the same pattern on Solana. And to be honest, I think I'm seeing more brain power on Solana. I think I'm seeing more money. I'm not talking in net numbers because Ethereum's got a bigger head start. But I am seeing a higher acceleration on Solana. And I know that Solana is a drop in the ocean. I know when I talk about the Solana money, it's a drop in the ocean. But it reminds me very, very, very much of the Ethereum early days and the Ethereum ecosystem. It just feels all too. I looked at it, and it's almost like getting deja vu. I looked at it. Well, hold on. I've seen this movie before, and that's why I went. It was very public that I sold 60% of my ETH, and I put 60% of my ETH into Solana. That position has now taken my ETH exposure to like 15% because Solana basically 10x or whatever it did. Not 10x, but 5x since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I may be underestimating Cardano as well. I mean, Hoskinson is doing a really good job of wooing the academics, and when you look at kind of academic developer support, it's been up and to the right for him now and the project. I don't know what that's going to translate into in terms of real world usage, but it's possible that I'm totally underestimating that. And by the way, I'm bullish on Cardano. I'm just saying it could be even bigger than I'm foreseeing.
Why didn't anyone say Cardano? Why did we all say Solana and Avalanche? Why didn't anyone put up their hand and say Cardano?
The challenge with Cardano is the development platform is extremely complex. And that's why he's basically winning with the academics because it's provably secure and all these other things that you don't have with other,
smart contract platforms. They don't meet targets. They don't meet deadlines. They don't.
But nobody does.
Well, no one does.
No one does.
Bullshit. Cardano takes years and years. It's just it's like they keep saying they're going to do stuff and they just don't.
But here's the difference, though. You have folks like Sam that will literally throw millions of dollars overnight at developers, saying go work on this, and it'll literally pump the currency when the project releases in a week. That's not Cardano. Right, Cardano is a slow and steady, academically kind of oriented system that I think is going to be around for a long time, but is not easy for the average developer.
Okay,
you raise a good point with capital allocation. There's been a ton of kind of, let's call it, liquidity provisioning programs, whether it's just developer grants or yield farm mining incentives, and once those dry out, and maybe they never do because the VCs continue to get fresh powder and whatnot, and the token treasuries of foundations are so vast that there's a seemingly endless pool of capital, and the capital invested kind of creates a virtuous cycle flywheel. But I feel some of this development is almost false. It's falsely there, and I'm part of a decentralized autonomous organization investment group, and they literally hop from kind of liquidity provision incentive program to program almost apathetically to the ecosystem.
But what you're calling
they don't even care. they don't even
virtuous
care.
cycle is kind of like a pyramid scheme, right? I mean, go back to Uber and Lyft.
Well, so
right?
that's my point. So that's my point. That's why I while I saw Solana 30x in my face and I could have gotten at under $1. That's why I never really answered the question. I would put it in, if I was talking a layer 1, I'd put it into Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Ethereum.
Yeah. So if I was going to put it into a layer 1, I would put it into Ethereum.
And if you were to put it into a layer 1 or a layer 2?
I put it into Nahmii. Which basically is a layer 2 scaling solution that's EVM compatible, uses Ethereum as the layer 1 for security, but basically can construct various shards that have the ability to add zero knowledge proofs for privacy, ability to create AML KYC, which I think is what's going to end up happening, unfortunately, with regulatory compliance, and basically can simply copy paste the code of anything that's already EVM.
There's nothing wrong with a 5x return on Ethereum, by the way.
or 3000x from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
but I mean, there's no 3000x in Ethereum anymore. I mean, I think we'd be lucky to get a 3x between now and the end of the year on Ethereum. Whereas I think if you look at an Avalanche or if you look at a Solana, I mean, Solana's at a $40 billion market cap. I guess that you can probably get a 3x much easier.
Yeah. Also, one that I think you guys are overlooking is OMG, which is making some moves at the moment, and
I think that's a dead man walking. I don't think plasma makes sense. I don't think optimistic rollups really are optimized for scalability. You've got to wait. You've got to periodically commit to the base layer with Ethereum fees as they are. It makes it very expensive to use an optimistic rollup. And if you go through OMG and we see Go's team, I would say some of the brainpower there actually left to build optimism. So a lot of that group has moved on to optimism, and frankly the CTO of Nahmii built Nahmii knowing those OMG deficiencies. So I think that there was a pump because it was a liquid token that announced a layer 2 scaling solution, but we'll see what actually is built on it.
What are the other narratives that you guys are watching now? So I explained to the Banter fan that I think investing in crypto is like the bees, and I think that the bees fly from narrative to narrative. And if you're first to get to the flower and you follow the bees around, and I literally compared it to someone bees just flew from flower to flower to flower. What are the narratives? So I know one narrative that I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at the Luna ecosystem. I think after the Columbus 5 upgrade, I think that ecosystem is about to absolutely explode. I think we haven't seen a Luna explosion yet because no one's built on it yet. But now I think we're going to see a Luna explosion. What are you guys watching?
Layer 2s for me. What gets the most real world usage? Because if we can figure out, money transfer, gaming, certain other smart contract apps on layer 2, then I think the real movement to Web3 starts. Right, like you see with NFT, the hotshot kind of stuff. That's where there's no mention of NFTs or Ethereum or any layer 1 or any of that crap. And so that's what I'm looking for over the next 6 months is real world usage of layer 2s.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, which is why we led that investment in that layer 2 that I already mentioned in Nahmii earlier this week. The other aspect that I would say is actually complementing protocols. So for example, we're starting to see a lot of, let's call it EVM centric NFTs that have a hash to Filecoin or IPFS to actually store the data. So those are two disparate concepts. You have smart contracts talking to file storage, but I think that those convergence points where you actually have a stack of protocols. Let's talk about decentralized smart contracts, decentralized file storage. mesh networks, things like Helium, starting to kind of work in unison together. So that's something that I'm trying to find is kind of applications that are talking about the convergence points of the different layers of the Web3 stack.
But for your everyday, like normal person that's coming into crypto, they're not going to look at mesh networks. They're not going to look at all of that. They're just going to go, okay, here I've got, you know, an NFT gaming platform. This looks really cool. I'm going to invest in it. Or they're going to look at metaverses with real estate, like with Decentraland. They're going to build a plot in there and build on that. And that's kind of, for me, that's what I'm looking at. So, you know, I've got a MoonMag product, and we look at all this stuff that's coming in, and, you know, Metaverse and, you know, Sand, Decentraland, those sort of ones, you know, with your, you can build NFTs, own land, virtual land, you know, do all of that stuff. Sotheby's have a plot in Decentraland. So, you know, big companies are coming in and doing art galleries and movie theaters and that sort of thing. And I think that's the next, you know, sort of potential thing that we're going to see in, you know, huge potential in crypto.
I think I agree with you. I think we're definitely going to have a metaverse narrative, but I don't think the metaverses are as usable. Remember, a metaverse for me is very much a consumer-centric product. When you talk about chains and you talk about layer 2, you're talking about developer and VC-centric product, but a metaverse for me is a consumer-centric product. And I must say, I spent some time in Decentraland. It's not a cool place. It's just, it's not... It's really not all that it's made out to be honest. I think there's a lot of work to be done before it is as cool as the advertising is, I think.
Yeah. Well, you've got other products like, you know, Axie Infinity, where you can have, you know, breed your creatures and that sort of thing, and, you know, buy plots of land in there. So, you know, for those sort of gamers and those NFT sort of products coming in, I think, you know, it's got huge potential.
So I'm just getting something around some breaking news. I just want to see if it is actually true before I announce it. Just give us 1 second to see if it is true. I don't know, it probably isn't true. I must say that one of the narratives that I've been following is I've been following Arweave, and I want to show you guys why I've been following Arweave. So, been following Arweave because these guys are just building, and they're just building slowly, no hype. No fuss, but 522% month-on-month growth in data stored. Data stored is their metric. 57% growth month-on-month in base layer transactions. And I don't know, I mean, I think we've all seen this chart in crypto. Like, we've all seen this chart before. This is not a price chart. This is a real growth, slow build chart. Any of you following Arweave?
Yeah, yes. I've currently got a signal in my group on it.
You have to buy?
Yeah, we're up about 25% at the moment.
Andrew, I'm interested as someone who's a bit closer to the technology. Have you looked at it?
Yeah. I think that there are novel kind of data storage concepts, and Arweave is taking a slightly different approach to Filecoin, which I think, you know, in these early days, it's worthwhile to test different approaches. I am long both Arweave and Filecoin.
Wow. Okay. Cool, guys. Listen, it's been amazing. It's all we have time for today because we only have an hour on the show, but it's been great. Love having you guys on. We definitely will get you guys back here. I think we need to get you guys back here individually. I keep saying that, but I need to find time to get like Andrew on for half an hour and Bill on for half an hour and Lisa on for half an hour and just have one-on-ones with you guys. We'll do that probably in the next week or so.
Cheers.
Sounds great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And Banter fans, stay on the line because we're going to be doing some giveaways now. It is that time. If we've got over 5,000 likes, then it's giveaway time. Before I go to giveaways, you do know that there's a whole lot of legislation coming in. And with the legislation coming in, what we can expect is we can expect the authorities to either block your internet connection or check your internet connection. When they do that, you shouldn't let them know where you are. And the same thing is you shouldn't let the hackers know where you are. You shouldn't let hackers know where you are. So what I do is I use a VPN. I never let them know where I am, I always find a server, a VPN. A VPN, for those of you who don't know, it's a virtual private network, which basically connects your computer to the internet, but through a virtual private network. So not through the where you're actually at. And it makes it much harder for hackers to track you down. It also makes it much harder for the authorities to know where the hell you're at. And if you do want to use a VPN, we use NordVPN. They are a channel sponsor. There is a description link below. Guys, I just want to show you how cheap this fucking thing is so that you understand. It is so fucking cheap. Seriously, it is so fucking cheap. If you take a 2-year plan, it's $3 a month. Like that's it, $3 a fucking month. $3 a month, and you protect yourself. Also, if you live in China or if you live in the US and you want to let's say you live in the US, and I mean, you would never hear this from me, but I did watch another show on the internet. It's the biggest show in crypto, and what they said was that if you live in the US and you want to open exchange accounts on Gate.io and all those other places, what you do is you just use a VPN. You use NordVPN, costs you $3.18 a month. What a fucking no-brainer. There's a link in the description below if you want to do it. Anyway, let's now do some giveaways. I've got to give away Crypto Blades and I've got to give away Crypto Kingdoms. Shaldino, come and help me give away some, come and help us give some love. Okay, brother, let's do this together. My partner, we're going to give away Crypto Blades. We're going to give away 10 Crypto Blades. Let's look at the super chats. Why did the music stop? We just started, man. Okay, we do have, is Run Plan B version 2? Cliff Shen, I'm not Plan B. I wish I was. Moonshot me, I'm getting married in November. Abdullah SH, you are in. You get yourself $100 of Crypto Blades. I'm getting a signal that I've only got 9. Adam Ralph, you've got $100 of Crypto Blades. And remember, Crypto Blades, the IDO is actually broken Seedify. Let's just see if it's back. Hold on, it might actually be back. Let's see. The IDO broke Seedify. That's how big this IDO is going to be. So when we give you money, you know it's going to be worth a lot of money. The last IDO we gave our community was 30 times. They made 30 times their money. Have you ever made 30 times your money on free money? Right, okay, I think Seedify is still broken. Okay, who else? Let's give away. Come on, let's change some lives here today. Here we go. I've got one. Morteza Safai, you win yourself $100 of Continuum. Let's give him Continuum. He gets $100 of Continuum. I've got my auditor here jumping up and down. The guy here says Sheldon's got tequila.
Tequila, I saw that.
Yeah, it's not tequila. It's weed.
No, it's tequila this time.
Okay, Thomas Kukswara, you win yourself $100 of Crypto Blades. Come on, let's do this. Come on. Here we go. I've got Lyle Keller. You win yourself $100 of Continuum pre-IDO. There we go. Crypto Banter changed my life. Go and register Crypto Banter. Someone go and register Crypto Banter change my life.crypto. Someone register it on Unstoppable Domains.
Jimmy.
Because you know these hostage.
Long-time follower. This one, yeah. Right?
These terrorists. They're going to go and register our domains again. We're going to have to. Okay, last one for today. Here we go. Please change my life. Gladys is the winner of $100 of Continuum. We're going to see you again on Monday. We're going to bring you lots of live crypto knowledge. We actually might do a stream on the weekend because these markets are Yeah, the markets are pumping. If the markets are pumping, we do a stream.
Let's do it. Look at us.
No, real one. A big stream. All right, my brother, my partner in crime, Shell Dino. People, we will see you guys again on Monday. Until then, trade well.